Hey, Tom.
Hey, JC.
So I have a question for you.
Okay.
I'm being inspired by Twitter this week.
That's always dangerous.
It is. Soon, we're storming Area 51. And I need you to take 3 professional wrestlers with you to help us save the aliens. Who are they?
To help us save the aliens?
Or extract them, or I don't know. This is taking a weird turn online. Like, everyone gets to take an alien with them when they leave.
Okay.
But however you want to interpret it, whether we're just storming Area 51 to find out what's there, or we're saving the aliens, I don't know. But who are you taking with you, Tom?
Okay, so I need 3 to storm.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So I'm going to get a little obscure because you actually gave... You pull back the curtain a little bit. You actually gave me a little hint on this one, allowed me to prepare, so...
Damn it, Tom. Kayfabe.
Yeah. So, my first 2 are going to be Buck Rock and Roll Zumhoff and Jose Gonzalez, the original Invader.
Okay. I have no clue who that first person is. Zero idea.
Buck Rock and Roll Zumhoff is a former AWA wrestler, wrestles a lot in the Midwest, light heavyweight. Completely trash human being that molested children and is in jail now probably for the rest of his life, hopefully for the rest of his life.
Okay.
So I'm using him and Invader number 1, the man who murdered Bruiser Brody, to be the first 2 in so that they can be completely murdered and taken care of.
Okay. All right. Fair enough.
So, because you got to have red shirts.
Okay. All right. Fair enough. All right.
You know, just like Independence Day, you know, it's like the first one's like, oh, we come in peace, and they go, and you know, the helicopter's there, and it flashes the lights, and they blow them up. So that's fine. So the red shirts are gone. So as they're murdered numerous times over, my third one, who is no longer on this ancestral plane anyway, but we're using anyone from any era, is obviously Jim Hellwig, the Ultimate Warrior. Because of all the people that could speak to the aliens, I think he'd have the ability to.
Unless they're gay.
Well, yeah, but hopefully they're the right color, too.
That's true. I'm going to take this in a different angle.
Okay.
This is a brute force operation on a government installation.
Okay.
So I'm taking Strowman, because someone's going to need to flip trucks over for cover.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense.
I'm going to take Brock Lesnar.
Because he's going to take the knife out of his chest and stab people with it?
All right, let's go with that. Wouldn't that be amazing if he just like held his hand to it and just turned into it? And how I want that to be like a sci-fi fantasy movie starring Brock Lesnar.
So, not to get too comic booky, but there's a character, the Tattooed Man, that could, like, his tattoos actually kind of came to life.
Is his name actually Tattooed Man?
Well, that's what they call people. I mean, that's not his birth name.
Well, yeah, I understand his mother wasn't like, first name Tattoo, last name Man.
I'm pretty sure that's his character name.
Yeah. And then, like, those 2 are for the brute force, right? But then, like, this is a celebration. It's a celebration of the general public's first contact with extraterrestrials. So we're doing a conga line in, so I'm taking No Way Jose.
Okay.
I mean, we're going to have some fun, right? Can you imagine the whole way up there, the whole way down the road? No way, Jose. No way, Jose.
I think the aliens would have fun with that.
Yeah. Wouldn't everybody? It would bring the universe, not just the WWE universe, but the entire universe together, Tom.
Because I think it would ease them in a little bit to see that these guys just want to have a good time.
Thanks, Cole. That was a good bit. I like that. That went well.
Yeah.
I hope, you know what else I hope goes well? Us talking about Extreme Rules and Fight for the Fallen.
Those are two things that happened this weekend.
They did. And they've led to some things over the last week. Not a whole lot, but a few things. So we're going to talk about all that this week here on the Cheaters Never Pin podcast. So before we actually start talking about that, Tom, I need you to do me a favor, buddy.
What's that, JC?
Ring that bell, son.
You know it, brother.
You're listening to the Cheaters Never Pin podcast, a proud part of the Section 328 network, bringing you all the best in wrestling from WWE, New Japan, and beyond. Now, live from ringside, it's Mr. Workrate and JC.
Oh, buddy!
Bong.
It's the Cheaters Never Pin podcast. My name is JC. Here next to me at the commentary table of the stars is my good buddy, Mr. Workrate, Tom.
Super wonderful to be here as always, JC.
This show tonight brought to you by our unofficial sponsor, White Claw.
Well, at your portion of the podcast, I finished mine off last week.
Yeah, I brought this entire variety pack here next to the console. So if the show goes horribly off the rails, you all know why.
So here's my complaint about the variety pack, at least.
Okay.
Is that I've seen the other one, Truly, and other one. Truly seems to have like about 6 different variety packs, which whatever.
Much. It's market confusion.
Okay, so the White Claw only has one, and like most variety packs, you have good ones and you have like the garbage ones that they throw in there. So my strike number one against it is mango, which seems like the best flavor, is not in the variety pack. My other thing is no one likes lime seltzer. Lime seltzer was like the first one they came out with. There was like, let's see if we can actually make this presentable. And they're like, oh, cool, this can actually work. Now we'll do the other ones that people actually like. But
so here's my take on that. I've had the mango many a time because there is someone in my life who refuses to drink anyone but that one. So that one tends to find its way here to the Section 328 East headquarters, West headquarters, whatever direction. I don't know.
I've been around this whole great state of ours. I have no idea.
Yeah, here in big,
where
beautiful Durham, North Carolina. Thumbs up. Stare at hard cam. Cheap pop. So I've had the variety pack a few times over the last week. Which says a whole lot of things we're just not going to address right now. So here's my thoughts on the White Claw variety pack. The pink grapefruit is the weakest in the box. Right?
That's fair.
It's fine. But it's not...
I mean, and it's hard for me because I like pink grapefruit. I like that flavor in general.
I like grapefruit, period, right?
Yeah.
Raspberry, second weakest.
Okay.
It's a good one. I'm not saying any of these are bad, right? Like, so if I'm Meltzer, I'm like, 3 stars is a bad thing. Pink grapefruit gets a 3 stars. Raspberry's 3.5, right?
Okay.
And then it's I don't know who shows up in the Tokyo Dome more often for the 5 stars, right? But Tom, I gotta contradict you here. Lime and black cherry, I go back and forth on, man.
Yeah.
I got the lime cracked open right here. This is good.
You've had some questionable. This is like questionable opinion day for you.
It's not,
between
Tom.
Between the Cats trailer.
Tom, I'm speaking my truth. Okay, I think the Cats trailer looks great. Blair Witch is one of my top 5 favorite movies of all time, and Lime White Claw, pretty damn good.
Are we gonna all speak our truth now?
I mean, if you want, this is an open forum.
No, I'm not going to get into that because then Clark's going to show up and ask us for weed. So,
okay, I don't have any.
No, none of us do because that would be illegal.
That would be. Unfortunately. Anyway, here we go. Where do we want to start? Do we want to start with Saturday or Sunday?
Go in order. Stay with Saturday.
All right. Fight for the Fallen was live in Jacksonville, Daly's Place this past Saturday. Tom, did you watch it?
I watched some of it.
Okay. All right. Sounds good.
It's funny that you think I watch wrestling.
I mean, it's a novel concept, right? And you on a wrestling podcast.
Well, what ends up happening is I go, oh, I should watch these current things, and then I get busy. Then I go, well, I'll watch them later on, and then I'll put on like the network, and it's like, oh, cool, they've got ECW pay-per-views from 1994. They
put the pilot up for ECW, by the way. Did you see that?
Yeah, so I haven't actually watched it yet.
Yeah, that's on my list for tomorrow. You also have a lot busier life than I do, with a wife and 3 children.
And travel. I'm traveling now too. So
whereas I just come home and I'm like, I don't know. Let me throw this on and play some Mario Maker.
What's funny though is since I jumped on Prime Day, and bought like way too many Amazon Fire Sticks. Like I literally bought 4 of them.
Wow, I bought 1.
Okay, so here's the thing, like. A Fire Stick is normally what, $40? I think.
I think the regular one is like $30 because it was what, 15? It's either 30 or 35. I don't know. Doesn't matter.
I think it's 40. I think it was $39.99. Wow.
It's a good deal.
But anyway, it was $15.
Yeah.
So I was like, all right, well, we'll get 2. We'll get 1 for my mother-in-law. Because we had given her a Fire Stick, and it was like one of the original Fire Sticks, so the interface not really all that great and kind of clunky. Right. And so like $15 will give you a new one. You can go back to watching Netflix again. There are so many people on my Netflix account right now. Please don't be listening to Netflix. I can never change my password ever again because like I'd have to go to like about 4 different people's houses and program it in.
It's a lot of work.
But so I'm like, all right, I'll buy 1. I'll buy 2. I'll buy 1 for my mother-in-law, and I'll buy 1 for me to take with me on the road because I end up stopping in these little hotels, which it's fine. But I have found myself banging my head against the wall, having to watch cable television. Especially in a hotel where sometimes you don't get even common channels. So I find myself watching like Comedy Central and I don't know, like the Food Network all the time because I don't want to watch Fox News, which is what every single hotel television seems to be pointed at.
Well, yeah.
So I bought 2. And that was, first thing in the morning. It's like, okay, that's going to be my purchase and done.
And then they showed up and mated.
No. So then I saw something online. They're like, we think this is a price mistake. And what it was like a package deal where you get a Fire Stick and a Echo Dot.
Uh-huh.
And I think the price was, let's say, $45 or something like that. It's supposed to be.
Right.
But with Prime or whatever, like if you click on it, like you look at it, it's normal price. But when you actually put it in your cart, it marked it down to like $11.
What? I missed this. What?
And I could only get 1 of them. So I'm like, okay, I'm buying 1. I yell over to Tara. I go, see if you can do this too. She does. So she got 1. So that's how we ended up with 4 Fire Sticks. Because then I have the extra 2, and I'm like, well, I already ordered them. I mean,
yeah.
And now with Kohl's, you can take your Amazon stuff to Kohl's and return it there.
Right.
You don't even have to like put it in a box and send it to like the UPS store. Yeah. You just take Kohl's now. So I'm like, well, screw it. If we'll figure it out. If we end up using them, we'll use them. If not, then we'll take them to Kohl's, we'll return it, and we'll get our money back.
Nice.
So we've already used 3 of them because I ended up swapping out the one with my mother-in-law, and she's just like, she mentioned something about like, what, do you want to put the old one upstairs? And we're like, oh, upstairs. So we gave her a second one to put upstairs. So now she's got a Fire Stick upstairs and downstairs.
Nice.
And then I've got the one that's in my bag for when I travel. And you can get all these things. But when you do, obviously the price isn't going to be like that now, but if you decide that you want a Fire Stick because it's great to use, again, the TVs are easily accessible when you're in hotel rooms, and all those ports are generally available, the HDMI ports. So it's quick to throw into a bag and you just plug it in, hook it up to the internet, and you can stream like Netflix and the network.
Pluto TV, you can get AAA and Impact.
Yep, at Pluto TV,
There's a fight app.
The Bleacher Report Live.
Yep.
The NJPW World.
Yep, that's there. You're right.
All that stuff I installed on there, and like this morning I woke up and I started watching G1. It's nice to be able to wake up in a hotel room and go, yeah, I'm going to watch G1 before, as I wake up this morning. So it's like, it was kind of cool to be able to do that. But obviously Fire Sticks aren't going to be at this great price to were before, but if you decide to purchase one, remember to go to cheatersneverpin.com, click on the Amazon button, and when you put that Fire Stick in your cart and you make that purchase, a portion of that money goes back to your friend JC and me.
Yeah. If you're like me and you like shoving your dongle into a strange port in a hotel room, go to cheatersneverpin.com, click the buy on Amazon button, get yourself a Fire Stick, treat yourself.
We haven't done that ad read in a while.
No, that was natural too.
Yeah.
Appeared out of nowhere. But Omaha Steaks, Tom. No, I'm just...
Are we supposed to change our voice completely out of nowhere?
Yeah. It's totally different background noise, too.
The production quality changes.
Yeah. I don't know how we got there, but fight for the fall.
Yeah, I have no idea.
Yeah. I'll have to listen back to that.
Yeah.
We can run through this card pretty quick. Pre-show matches. Sunny Kiss defeated Peter Avalon with Leva Bates. The librarian gimmick is still terrible.
Yep. We ran out of time.
Yeah. B. Priestley and Shoko Nakajima defeated Dr. Britt Baker, who got her clock cleaned in Riho in a tag match.
She needed a doctor of her own. Ha 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 ha.
Well, yeah, seriously. Actually, she got a concussion.
Yeah. Not a joking matter.
No. That match was okay. It got me hyped for B. Priestley, Britt Baker feud for the title at one point.
Right.
I don't know, man. Maybe it's just because I don't know enough about the Joshi girls to really invest myself in them. But I'm just okay, whatever.
Right.
So.
Well, it's one of those disadvantages of not having, it kind of goes both ways. If you have a show just kind of out of nowhere, having the Joshi girls show up is it's I can't think of the word that I'm thinking of, but it's a special thing. It's just oh, that's cool. It's we're seeing something that's out of the ordinary. But if you're going to have them appear regularly on a show, or at least semi-regularly as these shows are coming out, it's okay, well, if they're not special anymore, this isn't a special appearance. They're showing up on a regular basis now. Now we kind of have to learn something about them, because the shine, not that the shine is off necessarily, but there was significance to them being at Double or Nothing. Mm-hmm. Oh, cool. We got the Joshi girls to show up.
Well, I think too, you look at something like Double or Nothing, they're in their own match, right?
Right.
So you let them show off that style, which is radically different.
Right.
Whereas you put them in a match with, two Gaijin. You put them there with Brie Peasley and Britt Baker, who have experience in Japan.
Right.
But it's still, something's lost in translation in that situation. I don't know. It was a fine match. I don't want to sound like I'm crapping on it, but I was all right, cool. I don't know. Main card starts 6-man tag action. MJF, Sammy Guevara, Sean Spears defeat Darby Allin, Jimmy Havoc, and Joey Janela with Spears getting the pin on Darby Allin. Sean Spears, while he's not fighting for the title, he's the top heel in this company.
Yeah.
Like, it's not Jericho. It's Spears. You have him attack Cody at the at Fyter Fest, right?
Yeah.
All the stitches, what we all thought would be a concussion, which was not. And he shows up here wearing a shirt and using the gimmick of him being the chairman of AEW, which I thought was brilliant, by the way, with your 312 EVPs. Man, he's fitting really well into this role. One, he looks great. This is the best, like, physically, body-wise, I think he's looked in his career. So he's starting to fit into that role, and I think he's got the attitude for it, too.
Well, I mean, that was one thing that Cody had said. I mean, when they were kind of talking about the formation of AEW and kind of saying without so many words, like, who you'd go after. Are you gonna hit, like, you know, WWE and try to get some of these disgruntled guys? Who would you pull over or whatever? I remember Cody pointing out Ty at that time or whatever and going, oh, you know, that how, I mean, I don't know how much Cody sees in Sean as a, you know, kind of similar situation where, I mean, they did nothing with him for so long, where pretty much he got himself over with the whole 10 gimmick with that NXT crowd.
And he's even one of those situations where he was there, left, and then came back.
Yeah.
Right? And there was still really nothing going on even after his call-up. But you look at his resume and you look at how tenured he is and he's talented in the ring. He is a strong hand in the ring. And you can present him with any material and he'll make, you know, chicken crap into chicken salad. Was incredibly underutilized by Vince and creative in WWE. And here is just as excelling in this role, right? You think about the Perfect 10, you think that, well, you know, the crowd kind of forced him into this babyface role, and he excelled at that. And now here he is in this heel role, and it's just, you know, dominating the roster, in my opinion.
Yeah, definitely. One thing I also learned is do not invite you to a picnic because you do not want to make chicken crap out of chicken salad.
Turn chicken crap into chicken salad.
Yeah.
Yeah, sorry. White Claw.
That's okay.
Man. We were talking about the Joey Janela match, and so the influence of White Claw had to come in. Also, Joey Janela, maybe my favorite moment of this entire show, takes a bump on the apron and falls outside the match, and then just stares at the camera while he's selling and he yells, "F you, Cornette." Like, to which Cornette this week on his podcast got set off on. But God, it made me so happy. So funny. Brandy Rhodes defeats Allie in 11 minutes after her enforcer, Awesome Kong, comes out.
Who called that, JC?
You did.
Yeah.
I was so, they had me, man. The entire road to Fight for the Fallen videos that were selling me on this, you know, this conflict and trying to rise, right, was kind of the storyline for Brandy that they were presenting, and then this happens. And she becomes such a heel, man. I loved it, though. It was perfect. Right? The match was fine. I don't want to say the match was perfect. The match was whatever. I think Allie shines definitely So you set up a triple threat, let's say with B. Priestley, and Britt Baker and Allie. You got yourself an instant classic, right? Brandy, who's certainly improved. It was a serviceable match, but I think the storytelling here was what's shown the most.
Yeah, I mean, that's how it's been in the past, more so like we're just going to do work rate. We're not going to do, because we haven't had the ability to tell a story necessarily. Now you're seeing that they actually can. So,
yeah.
But the pieces are kind of coming together. You're starting to see what they actually have here.
Yeah. I feel like we're slowly progressing to a point where when we get to TV in October, things are going to feel really good.
I mean, you got to figure we still have road agents and things like that, too, that are kind of putting this stuff together. I mean, you got somebody like Dean Malenko who just came aboard.
Yeah, who are their agents right now? Malenko and Billy Gunn, right?
Yeah.
So,
I mean, I don't know who else is kind of working in the background with those guys.
Well, you got to assume Cody and the Bucks and Dustin and Kenny are all doing it too, right?
Right.
So, the Dark Order earns themselves a first-round bye in the AEW Tag Team Tournament, defeating Angelico and Jack Evans, and a boy and his dinosaur in the three-way tag team match. The tag team of Jungle Boy and Luchasaurus may have been the most over thing on this show.
They're getting the belts, right?
I mean, I hope so. Like, it's just...
at least they're getting the run in the tournament. They may end up losing in the finals or something like that, but...
Right, but I mean, they get the first, even if they don't win them in the tournament, right? They get the first legit run at the titles.
Right.
This is one of those moments where I hate to agree with Jim Cornette, but he could not praise Jungle Boy and Luchasaurus highly enough. He was all about it. And the point he made a lot of sense to me. He goes, you look at Luchasaurus in kind of the gimmicky battle royals that he'd been in, and he didn't stand out, right? Like,
right.
I mean, we all talked about him. And we said, look at his physique, look at his size. He is something that has potential. But you put him in this tag team, and you put him in this gimmick, and it just excels above everything else, right? It just felt right, and it feels like something you want to cheer for, even though it's so dumb, right? But it works with Jungle Boy, and then even with Marco Stunt there, kind of by their side. It just I don't know. There's something about it for you can't hate it, and they're so talented. The spots they're going to be able to pull off when you look at the size and frame of Jungle Boy versus the size and frame of Luchasaurus, like. There's so much potential there for cool stuff that's going to happen. And the sky's the limit for these two.
I think it's ideal, too, because, like, right now, the sum is worth so much more than its parts for right now. I mean, because you had Luchasaurus, which was the gimmick or whatever, and, you could look at it and go, oh, there might be something there or whatever, like you said. And then Jungle Boy was just... Luke Perry's kid.
Right.
So you kind of had that, and especially with him losing his father and things like that, it's like, well, are we going to push him because of his name? Like, having people know, is he, due to his, his age and experience, or should we really be pushing him that much? But putting the two of them together and just working off of this is kind of ideal, because you're raising the profile of both of them without necessarily putting the pressure on either one of them to carry the team necessarily.
Yeah, either one of them is capable of being with the gimmick they have in that hot tag moment, right?
Right.
I think Lucha Boy's stock jumped significantly when his father passed away, right? And you look at the meteoric kind of rise he had with his kind of re-debut onto the scene at WrestleMania weekend, specifically at Spring Break. Not that people didn't know him before or anything, but that was kind of his bigger introduction to the world this year. And to kind of grow into this spot where he is now, that being the springboard to getting him into AEW, and then the next springboard being putting him in this tag team. It's cool to see.
I mean, because like in my case, like I hadn't heard of him necessarily. And then the reason I had heard of him was because there was the interest from AEW, and I think that he had signed on with AEW. It was before his father passed, I thought. And
maybe.
Because part of me was like kind of looking at this and going, are they kind of trying to almost use him to get the rub of his father's backing, and that if Luke Perry starts showing up the shows and maybe he brings a couple of his friends, and then, kind of like, is this the reason why he got signed?
Mm-hmm.
But, to see him come out on his own, I mean, obviously he's on his own that way, but I mean, like, to be making a name for himself in his tag team, just like the talent was there, and it looked it's looking more so now like, we actually brought him to this promotion because he has the talent to be a top guy in the future.
Right.
So
Jungle Boy was announced as signed in January, which was before his dad's passing. So you're right. I mean, I think especially those that are in touch with PWG knew him, and we're aware of him, but and real deep indie past that, right? But I think his emergence on the scene from people wanting to see him Mania weekend was the big catalyst to this rise. So, Adam Page defeated Kip Sabian in a match that went on way too long. If Adam Page, one of your two number one contenders for the first title, does he really need to have an almost 20-minute match against Kip Sabian? Here's another thing I'm going to agree with Cornette on. Like, it just, I don't know. After this was easily the weakest of the AEW shows so far, and I realize that's a 3 show comparison, right?
Right.
But to me, it really started going downhill here.
Part of my concern, as this kind of moves along, is that, I don't know, we're putting Page as this number one contender for the title, and was the last 2 matches or whatever, he's just been kind of, for lack of a better term, just there. There isn't, I mean, he's not having necessarily the star quality around him.
Well, I feel like part of the issue with that is you want to determine that number one contender at Double or Nothing, right? Because that's your second tier show, right?
Right.
If All In, All Out is number 1, Double or Nothing is going to be your number 2. And they didn't look at, crap, we have 2 shows to book in between Double or Nothing and All Out. So what do we do with this guy? They wanted that big pop in Vegas, right? Obviously. Right. It's a big crowd. That's your big show that you're investing in. So I don't know. I don't know. It just felt like this was kind of a waste of his talent, even with the Jericho attack after, right? It just felt kind of like, eh.
And I get the concept too of, okay, well, he's not necessarily, he doesn't have the star value that a Jericho has. Let's put him on the next couple of cards to make him look strong, because he'll be. But I mean,
do you make him look strong in a 20-minute match against Kip Sabian?
That's the thing. It's not making him look strong. It's making him look like, I don't want to say a mid-carder, but I mean,
And he's not. That's the thing. He does have the talent to be in the position they put him in, right? I even think on this show we've debated, whether Adam Page is the right choice to be possibly your first champion in the face of your promotion. And he has that potential.
But you're putting him literally in the middle of the card.
Against a mid-carder.
Who
he doesn't just destroy.
Exactly. It's an evenly fought match. So
it's just, it was a weird, not every show has to be the get your shit in main event match. And I feel like AEW, being from that indie bloodline, feels like it needs to book every match that way. If that makes any sense as a statement. But, you don't have to go out there and have your try to have the best match of your career every time. Like, you're on the main stage now. Tell a story instead.
Right.
Speaking more to that same kind of idea, the Lucha Brothers defeat SCU in 15 minutes. This is a match. As much as I love every guy in this match, I was very underwhelmed by it.
Yeah, I mean,
I was like, okay, cool. Like, I didn't have strong opinions either way. I mean, of course, the big thing coming out of this is the Lucha Brothers challenging the Young Bucks to a ladder match at All Out. What they're climbing the ladder for, I have no idea. That's the thing. We're gonna have a ladder match. Okay. For what? What's the top of the ladder? Kenny Omega defeats Shima in 22 minutes. Another match that I thought went on way too long.
I mean, we in our preview for the match, we're just like, yep. Okay.
I mean, it's a showcase match, right? Like, of course you're going to get Kenny on the show to sell tickets. You're going to get Shima on the show because it's Kenny's friend and he's the OWE promoter. But, cool. Like, 20... I mean, it was... I don't know. Do I need to see Kenny go for 22 minutes against this guy? If you're... Because you have to assume, right? He's your kind of de facto number 1 or number 2 contender coming out of whoever wins the title. Shima is not that in the eyes of an American audience. Shima is a mid-carder to an American audience. And AEW at this point is an American promotion. Again, too long. As much as I love both these guys, I zoned out during this. It did nothing for me to elevate either one of them. It was like, oh, cool, here's a couple guys doing spots. And I hate to say that about a match, but I was like, all right, whatever.
It reminds me almost a little bit, and I mean, I know he's signed, so he's, part of the promotion. He's not like a special whatever, but so in ECW, Heyman would get creative sometimes and almost kind of internet book and go, all right, I'm going to bring in this guy from overseas, from Japan or somewhere, and it's going to be an awesome match. And it's like, so one time he brings in, and God, was I actually at this card? I can't remember. Johnny Smith. Johnny Smith being Davey Boy's cousin, I think.
Okay.
He ended up affiliating. I don't know, but Johnny was like I said, he was Davey Boy's cousin, I'm pretty sure. He wrestled for All Japan for a period of time. Obviously, wrestled in the UK. Wrestled a lot for Stampede, that type of thing. So, like, they come out and Heyman comes out and they're like, oh, we got a mystery man for you to fight. And I forget who he ended up wrestling. And they're like, here comes Johnny Smith. And, like, about 10% of the crowd is like, holy crap, it's Johnny Smith from, All Japan. And 90% of the crowd's like, what?
Yeah.
And that's how I kind of feel. It's like on paper, it's like, oh man, this is a great match for 5% of the crowd, and the rest of the crowd's going, who the hell is this guy?
And that's kind of my thing with this. It wasn't a bad match. I don't want to take away from the wrestling that occurred in the ring, right? But who cares? And I realize AEW is in this weird spot right now where you're biding your time to October.
Yeah.
Like, we all know you're doing that, and that's fine, but at the same time, give me something that means something on the way to All Out. And this was not it. And then your main event, the Young Bucks defeat the Brotherhood, Cody and Dustin. Very good match. I don't know that I wanted more from that. This may be technically the best Young Bucks match I've ever seen because it was storytelling.
Right.
It wasn't just spot. I feel like I've gone back and forth on being very critical of the Bucks in the past. This made me an absolute fan for life. I thought it was beautiful. It was a beautiful match.
I mean, I think a lot of that has to do with Dustin. I think Dustin's a hell of a backstage guy.
Mm-hmm. And
between him and Cody, they can probably write some great storylines and put together matches.
Yeah, and part of this is, too, we had the story going into the match, right?
Right.
You
have the story to tell.
And we talked about this last week. It wasn't much of a story, right? You've got Matt and Nick kind of poking fun at the brothers who are like, we're brothers, we're strong. And Matt and Nick being like, we're brothers too, but we have to show it to everybody. And that's the feud.
Right.
And it was great. I loved it. So, overall, like I said, I thought it was the weakest of AEW so far, but,
to be honest, I think they're going to be weaker as it goes along, just because the shine of it wears off. Without the weekly show, without being able to tell the stories from show to show to show.
And even when we get to that point, everything's not going to be a hit. And that's fine. I'm saying this is their weakest show, but I don't want to sound like I'm hating on it at all. Because it was perfectly fine. It was enjoyable. Go watch it. But, I think given the high bar that had been set their last two outings, this was like, all right, cool. Here they are. To counter program that, as Cody would poke a jab at post-show, Evolve 131 was happening in Philadelphia. We're not going to go too in-depth on this, because the likelihood that many of you have watched this is pretty low.
I have not either.
So this will be me talking for 2 minutes, because somehow we're already almost 45 minutes into this show.
Oh, God. We're sorry, y'all.
Yeah, it's going to be a long one. Get ready. The main two people I want to call out of this show. You know what? Give me three. Yeah, give me the three main people I want to call out of this show as being superstars. Brandi Lauren and Shotzi Blackheart, the women's match, out of this world. I thought those two were amazing. I think they're gifted in the ring. I think their storytelling ability is great. They both, we know Evolve is kind of the NXT to NXT. Those two have the potential to make the jump. And I hope to see a lot more from them in the future. Arturo Ruas, who is an NXT talent and kind of works under this BJJ gimmick. his match with Anthony Henry, I thought, was outstanding. Henry looked like a superstar, and Huas, who is an NXT superstar, needs to be on TV every week. If you want a credible ass-kicking threat, it is this guy. His defeat of Anthony Henry with one kick that I thought ended Henry's life in the moment was incredible. So I hope to see more of them. Also, it was crazy to see AR Fox win an Evolve Championship on WWE Network. AR Fox, veteran of the business. The Riddle Gulak match, which I highly suggest you watch if you love catch-can wrestling. This was a clinic for that, with both of them being Catch Point alumni from WWN. And if you're not at all exposed to Austin Theory and JD Drake, that match too, very good. Great to see Austin Theory become the double champion, if you will, of Evolve and WWN. It was a good show. To me, honestly, the Evolve show was the best show of the weekend. Out of all three, AEW, Evolve, and Extreme Rules.
And I just finished a piece of licorice as you did that.
Oh, look at that.
I timed that pretty well.
Yes. So let's pivot quickly to Extreme Rules.
Yeah, because the clock is ticking, man.
Clock is a ticking. This is now a beat the clock match because commercial break's coming up. Pre-show, Shinsuke defeats Finn for the Intercontinental Championship. Decent match. It was fine. It's exactly.
Are we explaining why the belt changed hands?
Yeah, I want to talk about the match first. It was a good match. Okay. It was Shinsuke and Finn. It was perfectly
right.
Fine. The belt changes hands because Finn now has his next feud, as he tells his kind of redemption story before he apparently is going to go away on vacation for a couple of months. But Finn takes on Joe Monday Night on Raw, loses immediately, destroys Joe after because 50-50 booking, before his music hits, which is then morphed into the, I guess, re-debut of Bray Wyatt as The Fiend. And it was awesome. I loved it. I was 100% sold on it. It was creepy and weird and perfect.
God, I love that mask.
Someone online made the point, too, that Wyatt as Wyatt Funhouse Guy, as Firefly Funhouse Guy, should come out to Finn's next match and act like nothing happened.
Oh, yeah.
And I was like, that's perfect. But hey, you know what? Demon versus Fiend at SummerSlam? I don't know who wins that match.
And then after that match, it's Finn and Bray like looking at each other like, we should have a match sometime. Because neither one of them realized that the other one's had it.
Yeah, because all the everything's off with them by then.
Yeah.
Gulak, 24 hours after his loss to Matt Riddle, defends his Cruiserweight championship against Tony Nese and wins. Fine.
Yep.
Then in the opening match tonight, we started hot Sunday. The Undertaker and Roman Reigns defeat Shane McMahon and Drew McIntyre in a no-holds-barred tag team match. This match was incredible, Tom.
When do you think was the last time The Undertaker opened a card?
I don't know. That's a good question. Man, I have to look that up on Cage Match or something.
Like,
yikes.
I can't imagine it being, like, even in the 90s.
No. Early 90s, maybe. But Tom, how... Roman and Shane and Drew were all fine in this match. How freaking great was The Undertaker? And maybe a lot of this is because we have such a low bar coming out of whatever the last Saudi Arabia show was that I blanked on the name of.
Right. That didn't happen.
But he, honestly, that aside, he looked incredible. His movement looked incredible. He was the Undertaker on Sunday.
Right. Yeah.
Like, I saw that and I was like, if he comes back full time, I'm good with it right now. Like,
I mean, see, personally, I'm torn. I'm glad that he's at this level again and people are still getting a chance to see. And it's not really fair because at the same time, I look at someone like Jushin Liger and I'm like, I don't want to see him leave. I don't want to see him retire because I know he's going to be gone, in January. But at the same time, I want Undertaker to actually be done. And it's not for anything except the fact of, like, you kind of said you were going to retire.
Right.
We made the whole deal with leaving the boots in the ring and the whole thing.
Oh, that would have been... If his story ended there, we would have no complaints, right?
Right.
But if you're going to bring him back and use him in situations like this, and rarely, once or twice a year, and he looks this good, I don't care. Undertaker pops a rating. That gong, I know I've said it on this show before, every time it hits, I'll still get chills. Like, it's awesome every time. And I was so thrilled for him because I know you could tell by the look on his face at the end of that match in Saudi Arabia how pissed he was at the quality of that match. And just a totally different guy out there. And part of that is, you look at who was out there with him, right? You've got Roman, who's an incredible worker. You've got Drew, who's an incredible worker. You've got Shane, who, as much as we want to crap on him for being the most annoying character in WWE today, and we want him to go, is still going to go out there and do everything he can to have a good match and a good moment, right? He had 3 good people with him, unlike Saudi Arabia, right? So, and I don't want to take anything from Goldberg. I don't know what his situation was there. Who knows? Maybe you go put him with 3 other people this week, and he goes and has a killer match too. I don't know.
No.
Yeah, I mean, you're probably...
You don't want to take anything from Goldberg. I'll take everything from Goldberg, but continue.
Yeah. I mean, but I was just thrilled to see it happen the way it did. It made me... I was happy with the outcome of the match. I was happy with the Undertaker's performance. I think, too, the end of the match, and they've kind of not even really addressed this on TV yet. The match ends, Taker's music hits, he taps Roman on the chest twice. And then you could see him mouth the words, "This is your yard," before he walks away and they switch to Roman's music. And Roman gets this big grin on his face. And I think, to me, that was almost one of those, like, genuine shoot kind of moments. Like, those two had a moment in the ring there. Even if that was a scripted thing that was that was in there, like, that was the Undertaker legitimately saying, even if it was scripted, like, it's your turn. I don't know, it felt like that was the legit passing of the torch compared to what happened at Mania. So, I don't know. I liked it. The Revivals defeat the Usos, retain their Raw Tag Team Championships. It was fine. I think we hyped this matchup a lot last week. Ended up just being fine.
Which is fine.
Yeah. Which, of course, after a Taker match, you kind of need a cooldown. This is not a bad cooldown. Aleister Black defeats Cesaro. They would battle again Tuesday night. This feud can continue for as long as it wants, and I will not complain.
I mean, they're 2 good workers in general, but they work so well together.
Yeah, and here's the thing. This feud is, I want to fight you. Well, I want to fight you. Okay. End of story.
That's all you need sometimes.
And that's perfect for these two because that's both their personalities, right? I think that's the character we want from both of them.
And that's not going to work for everyone, but it works great for them.
Yeah. Because you've got Black, who is capable on the mic, whether they write promos for him that show that or not. But he is. Cesaro, who's okay on the mic, but is fine as a man of few words. And they've kind of capitalized on both those abilities here. And then, of course, in the ring, have incredible matches. Bayley retains her SmackDown Women's Championship against Nikki Cross and Alexa Bliss. I think we were both kind of surprised.
I'd say it swerved a little bit.
The Meltzer explanation for this, Tom. Well, Bayley sells a lot of merchandise, so why would they take? Of course, they were gonna. They realized if they take the belt off her, she's not going to be as attractive to merchandise. So they decided that last minute. Literally, what he said on Monday. I have no words for that. This match was fine. Whatever. I care more about the Meltzer, whatever the hell he was saying. Because I don't get it. Yeah, she moves merchandise. She is a key part of their young girl demographic, right? I don't know. And I was like, God damn it, Dave.
Sometimes you don't need to read too much into it.
It's like you had to have a reason. Dave, who cares? Bayley won. Let's see where the story goes from here. And apparently it's Ember Moon at SummerSlam.
Yeah.
Which, I don't know. That's cool. They're going to have a good match, right? But one of them obviously has to fire up against the other. And they need to fire up against each other. Are either of them really capable of drawing a dime in that situation?
I don't know. Ember's got kind of a quality to her that I don't know.
They've got to take the chains off of her, though. She can't be weird nerd girl like they've booked her to be.
Right.
That's the issue. I'm not saying... my issue is not with either of the performers. My issue is with the characters within their confines of WWE.
And I mean, we've got some time to build to this, and I mean,
yeah, we got 3 weeks, 4 weeks, 3 weeks, whatever it is.
We'll have a little bit of Bischoff influence in there, won't we?
Yes, yeah, because Bischoff reported for duty this week to Stamford. Depending on what source you read, though, Bischoff not involved in creative for SmackDown. He is only kind of the overall, like, overseer liaison between WWE and Fox, which to me makes no sense why you would put him in that position, because Stephanie would be capable of that. Vince would be capable of that, right?
Yeah.
So we'll see. Braun Strowman defeated Bobby Lashley in a last man standing match.
This was fun.
We knew it would be, right? I don't think we talked about last week we talked about how do they top the spot through the Titantron, right? I don't think they did that, but I think we equaled it. Even with the fan cam angle where you can see them falling all of 3 feet. I don't care. That was awesome. You just wanted to see two big dudes destroy some crap, and that's what you got.
It was weird with the whole thing through the tunnel or whatever. It's like when you looked at that initial look, you're like, you couldn't figure out what they were actually being thrown into, and the whole drama of that spot. Just
so good.
But
and then Braun kind of plowing his way through that plywood to prove that he was standing.
Yeah,
it was. You know what? It was sports entertainment at its finest. I don't care. I was incredibly sports entertained for 17 minutes and 30 seconds.
My son, who is not a huge wrestling fan, but kind of observes every once in a while, thoroughly sports entertained by that match.
Yeah, it was fun. And you've got to have that, right? We talk about AEW being the promotion for like wrestling fans. This is the sports entertainment promotion, right? That's what's going to set them apart. That's what's going to get them the broader casual audience. I had a good time watching this match.
Yeah.
The New Day drips themselves in gold, defeating Daniel Bryan and Rowan and Heavy Machinery to earn their 6th?
I think so.
SmackDown or World Tag Team Champion. It was cool. It was a great match. It's perfectly fine.
They dip in gold, but they're the SmackDown belts, so they're kind of silver, aren't they?
They're white gold.
Oh.
Yes. But I'm pretty sure they're nickel.
I was going to say they look like nickels.
I love the idea of New Day. All 3 of them having a belt.
Yeah.
I also love the fact, I don't know if it was Big E that tweeted it or Xavier or Kofi or whoever, but they tweeted the picture of them right from their debut 5 years ago where they were all in suits. And that gimmick was very serious.
Right.
To now, to them all 3 having belts and throwing pancakes to the audience. Who could have predicted that?
I mean,
other than them,
chicken crap to chicken salad,
right?
Because that gimmick was bad.
It was, and it was so poorly timed considering what was going on in St. Louis at the time, which was a lot of the concern around it, right?
I mean, at first, because it was so weird. Because, like, initially it seemed kind of cool, like,
right. And then it turned into this thing where it seemed like they were almost going to be like the New Nation. Like it was like they were going to be this like black militant group.
Right.
And then St. Louis happened.
Right.
And we backpedaled off of that because fortunately WWE realized maybe that's not the smartest decision right now.
And how much of it was them going, hey guys,
yeah.
I don't think we can do this.
I think that's a lot of it, right? I think part of it, you can always say, well, Vince is out of touch. Vince didn't realize. I think even someone like Stephanie and Triple H would have been like, this is not a good idea right now. Maybe we don't do this. Right? I think everyone in creative would be like, this is terrible.
But I mean, you turn around, you spin it into this heel Christian gospel group. Because that was the whole thing, the power of positivity. And
they were that for maybe, what, a month before it started turning into them wearing bright colors and coming out? I cannot wait for one of them to write their memoir and find out, like, the entire story behind that.
Because, I mean, we did the whole New Day sucks chant. Like, because they kind of built off of that, because they started the new, like, trying to chant the New Day rocks to get the crowd to do New Day sucks.
Right, and that was long before Francesca won.
Right.
That was them just clapping without pelvic movements.
And then it just completely went in the opposite direction, where it's like, all right, and they started chanting the other way.
So it's one of those things, even they're getting that heat, and everybody's like, good for these guys, getting their TV time. Because it's 3 guys you can't help but like, right? And I think that's part of, this is one of those organic things that kind of happened. You know, it's one of those things, deep fans of the product always love these 3. You know what they're capable of. They come out, they finally start getting the TV time. You've got the hardcore fans being like, good for them. And it just kind of spreads when everyone starts realizing, like, damn, these guys are really talented.
Let's look back in hindsight. Was Kofi ever going to be a heel?
No. Not with that chest.
Yeah. Thanks, Billy Graham.
Yeah. No. Like, and I keep seeing all this talk about people like, man, Big E's got to turn soon. Does he? Like, why can't we just keep riding this? Like, no one hates, like, there is no hate for the New Day still being a face group right now. There's no reason whatsoever one of them needs to turn anytime soon, right?
Right. I mean, you're going to have that vocal minority that are just like, New Day again, who cares, but there's more positive than negative coming out of them. So it's not like how Hogan was, like, after a while with yellow and red, and they're just like, oh God, here he comes again. No, yeah.
And again, like, I want to argue for, and I think we talked about this after Mania, but the representation that is, right?
Right.
3 of your SmackDown champions are African American. That is huge in WWE at any era, at any time. In this business period, right?
Yep.
And to have the lead faction carrying gold being 3 African American men is huge, and it's inspiring, and it's awesome. And they deserve it. They're all. It's not. And it's one of those. It's not one of those things too. Like, okay, we handed the belts because they're black. No, like, these 3 guys have worked their ass off for years and absolutely deserve every accolade they've been given.
And you've got somebody. I mean, look at Kofi up and down. Like, here's somebody who's well educated, who comes off great in interviews, that doesn't look like a hulking monster,
You look at Kofi, and he does not look like a quote-unquote WWE champion, right?
Right. I mean, and it's just, these are the people that can get along with everyone, and it just, you do. I mean, it opens a door and allows, like, fans that wouldn't necessarily, I don't know. It just...
Yeah. Again, all those videos you saw of people crying and being so excited after Mania this year when Kofi won the belt, because finally, like, there's someone that looks like me, who is me, having that gold.
Right.
Like, I know this is predetermined. I know this is how it was scripted, but holy crap, right?
It's kind of funny
awesome.
because you're coming off of another person like Daniel Bryan, who's also a more average looking person.
Yeah.
You don't have these Strowman type people, or, the huge, even like Big E, that you look as the atypical wrestler. You're having, like, almost the everyday guys go out there and win the titles, and
we're entering the days of counterculture, right?
Right.
You've got Owens, who we'll get to here shortly, like, one of the top baby faces, and he doesn't look like he should be a baby face in traditional professional wrestling. Right?
He's a husky dude.
Right? You've got Shinsuke's a heel, right? But he's this kind of skinny looking normal Asian guy.
Yeah.
You've got Dawson and Wilder, even, right? You got 2 vanilla midgets out there running around pretending it's the 80s. Like, you know what I mean? I don't want to take away from him in this conversation. But you don't have to be the Orton Lashley, physique anymore. I think it's a huge turning point for the business, right? Like,
and that may be part of the reason why Lashley hasn't gotten over.
That's a good point. I don't know that anyone's ever really looked at it as Lashley looks great, and you put a belt on him, and it's believable, right? Like, I don't want to take anything away from him for that, right? Like, you could put him in that position this week, and everyone would be like, okay.
You put 10 guys from the roster, and Lashley being mixed in with them, and you put them in front of a non-wrestling fan.
And you put the belt on
which
Lashley
one of these guys
time.
is the champion? Yeah.
Yep. I don't know. I feel like, we're entering this counterculture moment, right? I mean, you look at, I hate to make this comparison, but it's almost like it's almost like an Attitude Era 2.0, right? You look at Austin. I mean, Austin, after his neck injuries, kind of lost his physique. He was just kind of a normal-looking dude.
Yep.
I mean, it's an interesting time. And this is more proof of that.
Yeah.
AJ Styles gains the U.S. Championship off of Ricochet because the club is there. Please give me more of angry Ricochet just interfering in every AJ Styles match like he did Monday night to be like, I don't give a damn. I want my belt back. Ricochet has an edge now, and it's great.
Yeah. He is also really one of the people that the company's going to be building around.
Yeah. He has the look. As much as we just talked about, the look shouldn't matter. He has the look. Right? He's clearly physically fit. He's not like a giant dude, right? He's the exact same age as me, which is terrifying. But he's a superhero, Tom. Did you know that? Did you know Ricochet is a superhero?
Of course.
Yeah, because he flips and stuff. Kevin Owens defeats Dolph Ziggler in 17 seconds. And then cuts another pipe bomb style promo. Cool. I'm good with this.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, this leads to Owens versus Shane again. Someone made this post on Reddit earlier this week to where it was like SmackDown 4 years ago or 3 years ago is exactly SmackDown today.
Right.
It really was the exact same feuds, and I was like, oh dear God. Kofi Kingston retains his WWE Championship over Samoa Joe. Already kind of talked about that a little bit. Cool. And then in our co-main event, unintentionally, Seth Rollins and Becky Lynch defeat Baron Corbin and Lacey Evans. I will give WWE credit for the intergender violence when Baron Corbin hit Becky Lynch with the End of Days. That was important to the story, right?
Right.
Crazy. It was one of those things that happened and I was like, oh my. Because you don't see it, right? You don't see it now.
And WWE made a point to not show it again.
They did not talk about it. They did not talk about it on Monday. When Seth cut his promo Monday, it was brought up, but it was not shown at all.
Right. There was no replay for a company that replays everything.
Which, kind of bothers me. Because, so they replay it as a way into, the show opens Monday night with your new Universal Champion Brock Lesnar, who did cash in his Money in the Bank contract against Seth Rollins Sunday night. They replay, they do the stills of the match, because of course it's available on WWE Network. I thought an important part of the story of Seth losing his title was not only is he suffering from everything that happened to him during that Extreme Rules match against Corbin and Lacey Evans, but Corbin has now also laid out his girlfriend who is laying in pain on outside the ring. That's an important piece of the storyline here, right?
Right.
So Monday night they show that, and it's like they just show like, oh my, he beat up Corbin and they won the match, and what a toll that took on him. Now Lesnar wins. Like if you're going to commit to it at the pay-per-view, commit to it for TV too, right?
Yeah, it's weird because I don't think WWE knows how to proceed with that. I think they wanted to do it just to kind of toe that water and go, how are people going to react? Yeah. Are we going to catch a lot of crap for this?
And
let's see what happens.
And they told the right story Sunday, right? I think that's the right story you want to tell. You want to make Corbin into just this detestable heel. That does it. But then Monday you're like, and online I didn't see any, between Reddit and Twitter, I saw no like hugely negative reaction to it, right? And part of that is a lot of my interaction with wrestling Reddit, wrestling Twitter is hardcore fans who watch intergender matches and other promotions. But
right.
I feel like if it was that big of an issue, we'd have heard about it Monday morning on from other outlets, other media outlets, right? Like, how dare they? Because we live in such a reactionary culture due to social media in 2019, right? I don't think it was an issue.
It's a little bit different. No. Because again, this was a match. This isn't a case of, and especially when you're putting Becky into the situation too, this isn't a case of attitude error where they had, the 105-pound fitness models that were quote unquote wrestlers. It's not Deborah McMichael getting hit by
Stone Cold.
A Stone Cold Stunner, which may have happened in real life.
Who knows?
No, it's a wrestler getting hit with a wrestling move.
Yeah.
And that's the change that we've seen now over this time. We're not seeing valets who are wrestling. We're seeing wrestlers that are taking like serious moves against other women. And End of Days is not like, say, it's not the type of move that it's not like it's a power bomb where you're using specific strength to kind of force, like a smaller wrestler. It's still that kind of like flip type thing. It's almost like a suplex in that sense. It's not a pile driver. It's not a power slam where you're using your 200-pound weight advantage against somebody. It's that kind of leverage move that you can kind of almost get away with more so than, like I said, a power move. So it came off very natural, almost like you cut it. And again, I don't know if it's because I've seen intergender wrestling more recently and how it's become more mainstream, how the women wrestlers are wrestling basically the same style almost as the male wrestlers. But when I saw her take that move, I was just like, oh, okay. It wasn't shocking. It's not like, well, I won't get as ridiculous as when Bubba Ray Dudley started powerbombing Mae Young through tables and stuff, but it was just, it didn't have that shock value, and I don't know, I don't think people had that shock reaction to it.
It made sense in the context of the story. It made sense in the context of the match. So who cares, right? And like you said, it was one professional wrestler delivering a move to another one. The end.
Right.
Like, so that's my thought on it. But unfortunately, Brock's the champion. Hopefully he loses it back to Seth at SummerSlam.
It's to the point where I don't even care anymore.
I mean, crap. Like, if that's the story you're telling, he gets back at SummerSlam, who cares? Great story. You told a good story. And you finally got that briefcase off Brock. I'll have stronger opinions about it after SummerSlam. Because, of course, Brock's going to be involved in SummerSlam, right? Like, it's your second biggest show of the year. Okay, cool. And that means you'll see Heyman, and you'll probably see Brock. Yeah. Let's see, we got, 3 or 4 weeks. You'll see Brock 1 to 2 more times. That's fine between a pay-per-view if you only see the champion once or twice more. If he retains at SummerSlam, we have an issue again.
Right.
But who knows? But I will say, I think this was WWE's strongest pay-per-view of the year. so far, excluding Mania.
Yeah.
Nothing on here was a complete stinker. Everything was good to great.
And I think we kind of saw that going into this, too. Like, the matches were booked well.
Yeah. The future is bright across the entire landscape of professional wrestling, finally. But we'll see how that fares this coming Monday, when I guess we're going to put all storylines to a halt for a week. Because of Raw Reunion, Tom.
Yeah, I'm curious to see what happens, but
so
I'm not getting hopes up.
Yeah, I guess what used to kind of be the old school Raw, like they used to call it. But instead, this is what WWE is hyping as the biggest reunion in Raw history. So it's just a bunch of old guys coming back, right?
Yeah.
Obviously, we're going to have to delay storytelling for a little bit because there's going to be a bunch of segments dedicated to this. I think you can integrate the current storytelling into this, right? But here is the list of people currently slated to appear this coming Monday on Raw Reunion. Stop me if you have a comment, by the way, on any of these people. The Boogeyman, Booker T, Christian, Devon Dudley, Eric Bischoff, The Godfather, Hulk Hogan. I knew to pause there. The Godfather. Oh, said that shit. I'm in. Oh, no, I said the word. Here we go. Hurricane Helms, Jerry Lawler, Jimmy Hart, Kelly Kelly, Kevin Nash, Kurt Angle, Mark Henry, Mick Foley, Ric Flair, Rikishi, Road Dogg, Ron Simmons, Santino Marella, Scott Hall, Sean Waltman, Sergeant Slaughter, Shawn Michaels, Sid Vicious, Steve Austin, Ted DiBiase Sr., and Triple H. Cool.
Sid!
That was the one I saw and I was like, huh? That's weirdly the one I'm looking most forward to. And then, of course, everyone on the internet was like, well, what about JR? And JR's like, no. They invited me, but no. And everyone's like, well, of course he'd turn, can't believe JR turned it down. Folks on the internet, you're all idiots. JR's on an AEW contract. He may say Tony Khan left it up to him. He's on an AEW contract.
That's one of those things going, you can do whatever you like, and then shake your head no.
Right, like...
You're open to do whatever you want to.
Come on.
Stern, angry face.
And if JR shows up, is he going to be on commentary? No, they're just going to put him backstage somewhere. Do you really want him there? No. But speaking of random people on commentary, Tuesday night on SmackDown, Shawn Michaels will be guest commentator for SmackDown. So that's the thing.
Sure.
Whatever. Who cares?
Yeah, it's something. Yeah.
Yeah. Whatever.
He's never necessarily been when he's done guest commentary, he's not particularly good at it, but
it's not bad, right?
We'll see.
Yeah.
Maybe he's gotten better.
Yeah.
He's not. It's different from the days where he was kind of a wrestler and he was kind of doing it because he was kind of trying to put himself over most of the time. He's not necessarily trying to do that now, so I don't know. He's been decent on the pre-show type thing, so why not?
Yeah. Give him that opportunity, right? Because, I mean, he's under contract for you. He's working at the PC. Like, he does well here. Maybe you throw him on a takeover. Who knows? Yeah. It'll be a fun show. I expect to be fully sports entertained Monday night. It's like Raw 25. It's not. It's just a show. We're gonna.
Yeah, I'm not thinking.
Yeah, I'm not thinking hard about it.
Yeah.
We're gonna come on here next week and be like, remember when Stone Cold stunnered this person? Cool. Remember? Yeah. I mean, remember the time Ron Simmons went, "Damn," like, I mean, that's all you're getting, right? Yeah. Everyone's hit. We're gonna get all the hits, right?
There's got to be, there's got to be a bingo card ready for it.
Yeah, I mean, it'll be fun. It's the entire idea. The entire rumor behind it is USA suggested it to pop a rating. It'll pop a rating. Of course it will.
Yep.
And you know what? Enjoy it. Anyone's like, this is dumb. You know what? Just sit back for 3 hours on Monday night and be like, that was fun. Just enjoy the moment. Because who knows how much longer you have to see this collection of guys together at one time.
Yep.
Who cares? Enjoy your fandom for one moment.
It's just like wrestling.
Yeah.
Just like it.
Let's see, what else do we have this week? Drake Maverick is running around San Diego Comic-Con this weekend, handing out wanted posters for R-Truth. Apparently he's doing it in a full banana costume. So I fully expect in the next couple of days to have a 24/7 title change at San Diego Comic-Con.
As is its way. I mean, that's what they're going to do for that type of thing. So
how could you not? That'd be dumb not to, right?
Right.
CM Punk is appearing at StarCast 3. He will have a one-on-one interview. I'm sure it will be on Fight TV. And appear there live. Here's my thing about that. What's he going to say that he hasn't already said, right?
Is Conrad going to get sued after it?
No, but somehow Colt Cabana will. Yeah.
Who is apparently winding down his podcast.
I can't imagine why. Let's see. After a weird week online, Chris Charlton is going to go back to his regular commentary role with New Japan. After it was reported that New Japan kind of pushed him into just a translator role, because not necessarily New Japan, but TV Asahi. Asahi was not a fan of his. Apparently he's moving it back into a commentator role instead of just translations. Tom, I know you've been watching G1, whereas I have not.
I love Charlton in the role that he's in. He basically acts as a third man. And I know 3-man booths have a tendency to be a little bit overcrowded. Especially
They're fine as long as Alex Marvez isn't there.
Yeah. But you've got, Kevin Kelly doesn't necessarily need anybody with him for the most part when he's calling stuff. No. It's him and Rocky Romero, and Rocky is entertaining. So it's what you have. You have a play-by-play guy who's giving you all the information, who's calling the matches, who is explaining, the plot lines, that type of thing, and just pushing that along. You have Rocky who's being entertaining, who's, throwing jokes back and forth, but also kind of giving his little bit of insight. So I can see why potentially they'd say, well, why do you need Charlton in there? He's this, he's the kind of timid British guy in the corner that...
I so disagree with that.
But I think somebody brought it up too, that Charlton's pretty much the Mike Tenay of the group, where he's got this additional insight. But obviously he understands Japanese and can translate, and supposedly that was the role that they wanted him in. They just wanted him to be able to translate, and that's it. Provide no other information. But he's got the history, though. That's the thing. He just pulls these references out of his butt, Tenay-like, where it could be like, oh, well, they had a match at the Tokyo Dome like 12 years ago that was this, that, and, or Chaos was originally this group, and this, he just throws all that information out there, and it's good to have.
He has the unique ability to connect that product with the West.
Yeah.
Because wrestling as a whole is so reliant on its knowledge, your knowledge as a fan of its past, right?
Right.
And his knowledge of that, to be able to put that in front of you as a Westerner, just, it works. And he can explain it simply, and he can explain it within the context of Japanese culture for a Westerner, and it works.
Yeah,
He's
I'm in the
invaluable to their Western expansion.
Yeah. He's doing he's got the podcast, which I haven't listened to recently, but there's the English language podcast that he does.
I still need to read Eggshells, the book.
Yeah, I'm halfway through it, and I ended up getting distracted, and I need to charge up the Kindle again to read the rest of it. But
yeah,
it is. I mean, I love it. I don't know how much necessarily, since you haven't been a New Japan fan for a huge amount of time.
But you know what? I feel like I'd appreciate it. You know what I mean?
He tells the stories in such a way that you don't necessarily have to have that knowledge. You don't have to have a huge amount of New Japan knowledge going in.
Maybe I'd buy
he
it and start
explains
reading
to
it
certain
tomorrow.
people. Yeah, he explains who like certain people are, and I mean there are other promotions, because it's not just New Japan; it's the history of the Tokyo Dome. So you have all these super cards that were put in, women's super cards, a couple of promotions that popped up in the 90s that fizzled out, and things like that.
AJPW coming through there, incredibly important.
Yeah.
Right. As far as the G1, here are your current standings. Kenta and Okada lead the A block, 6 points apiece. Lance Archer and Evil right behind them, 4 points apiece. B block, huge log jam at the top. Ishii, Moxley, and Robinson each with 4 points. Hiroki Goto and Shingo Takagi each behind them with 2 points.
Ishii, Moxley tomorrow morning.
Ooh, really?
So
the G1 is such a hard tournament for me to get into. And I think it's because, one, I'm not used to it, right?
Right.
And the time difference too. It's like I wake up and I've already got the spoilers. So I'm like, all right, cool, I don't need to watch it. There's got to be a way for them to present that to a Western audience better. And I don't know what it is. I don't have the answer, but I feel like there is one, right? And the show on Access is not the answer.
No. I mean, because it's pretty much...
Unless you did it day of every day on Access, then I'm in. Because then it becomes the World Series, it becomes the Stanley Cup Final, it becomes the NBA Finals, right?
Right.
The waiting doesn't work. And I'm, New Japan gets my once a year early wake up call. And even twice if I'm really super interested in the Best of the Super Junior final, which was all of once when Ospreay won his first.
So, as I mentioned earlier on the show, I got up and watched G1. I didn't get to watch all of it when I managed to actually remember that things were going on and flipped it on. I got the last 3 matches, which
is
still
all you need. Really,
it
all
was,
you need,
but it wasn't.
All you really need on any G1 show is the last 2 matches, right? Because those are the G1 matches.
This whole card, though, I want to go back and actually watch, because so I watched Fale Okada.
Okay.
Which is an interesting match, because Fale is usually strong in G1, and it's just one of those, Okada can't necessarily do all the stuff that he does because Fale doesn't sell a lot of things, right, and, that type of thing. You knew Okada was probably going to win. I mean, they throw weird stuff in every once in a while, especially Fale. Mm-hmm. But it was fine. That was probably the worst out of the whole group of matches.
Right.
They had Tanahashi, Zack Sabre Jr., which normally wouldn't have been a huge appeal to me because I don't know, but I know I'm a horrible person.
CSJ doesn't appeal to you a whole lot. I know that.
Yeah.
It doesn't have the charisma factor.
But the thing going into this match was neither one of them had a point going into it. So Tanahashi had lost 2 matches. Zack Sabre Jr. had lost 2 matches. So it's like whoever lost this match was going to have no points in their first 3 matches and pretty much was in a bad situation for the rest of the block. Because you're not coming back from no points in the first 3 matches for the most part. But it was the thing of, is Tanahashi kind of winding down? Is this going to be like, you know, there's still the questions of, is surgically repaired arm? Is it, just so there's the question of, is this kind of almost his swan song? Like, not that he's going to retire or anything like that, but kind of knocking himself down to that kind of second tier almost, or whatever. Have we seen the last of true Tanahashi? Zack Sabre Jr., like, well, could he potentially lose 3 I mean, like, he was pretty much a golden boy for so long. Like, so it was interesting to see the back and forth with that, and it told its own story, which Tanahashi ended up winning the match. So Zack Sabre Jr. is 0-3 to start the whole thing, which is a story in itself.
Right.
And then you have Kota Ibushi, Will Ospreay, which,
give me that.
I mean,
I need to watch that.
You saw it January 4th, and it's pretty much at that same level again.
I got a half a roll of Mentos in my pocket right now.
Yeah. Little shout out, Ibushi did a little shout out to Nakamura.
Nice.
And used the Bombaye.
Nice.
But
so I have an idea for you, because we're already running long, so I really don't care how long this show lasts at this point. What if Fale one day was to leave New Japan Pro Wrestling, and he was to join WWE, and he was Reigns' heater at a heel turn? How good would that be? Or even if you put it with, you know what? Let me back that up, because now that I'm thinking about it, what if it was Finn's heater at a heel turn? Because then you've got to realize you've got a small but significant portion of fans who realize their history.
Right.
Either one, I'm good with.
I don't know. I think it's still a case of we like it, but I don't know how well he would necessarily get over.
He just needs to be an ass kicker, right? He's a heater.
Right, but yeah, I don't know.
I'm not putting him in the world title scene. I'm putting him in that Rowan behind Brian scene, right? Which has been incredible.
I mean, you've already got a few of those guys. You've got him. You've got Lashley, essentially. You've got Strowman. I mean,
yeah, I mean, there's a time where he'd have to time it right? But it'd be cool. I don't know. Just him and Roman just hit me when you talked about him a minute ago. I was like, what if? How cool would that be? And then you reunited with him with the club. And then Fale and Roman joined the club. Ooh. Roman, Finn, and AJ as the leaders of a heel stable in WWE. I mean, that's fantasy booking at its finest, right? Like, what a what-if scenario. But how amazing would that be?
Yeah.
That'd be cool. I mean, that's extreme fantasy booking. But the last news note we have, Tom, I don't know if you've heard, but Saturday, July 27th, live on the WWE Network, we got ourselves a house show.
Okay.
And it's called Smackville. Live from Smashville, Nashville, Tennessee, and the Bridgestone Arena. At 9 p.m., so you know you're getting the top 3 matches only. That's 9 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. Their time.
Right.
What's been announced so far? Here's the WWE.com description. Let me read this. The explosive in-ring action will include a main event triple threat match for the WWE Championship in which Kofi Kingston will be challenged by Dolph Ziggler and Samoa Joe. In addition, newly crowned Intercontinental Champion Shinsuke Nakamura will go head-to-head with former title holder Finn Balor in a rematch from WWE Extreme Rules. The evening will also feature a special musical performance by Elias.
Cool.
So Elias is totally going to get slaughtered by Jeff Jarrett. Don't ask me why. I just have that feeling. It's a musically themed evening. It just makes sense. Or Roman. Probably Jarrett. But yeah, so it's coming. I'm all in favor of random house shows popping up on the network. Even if nothing changes hands, nothing changes. Just give me more wrestling. Right?
Yeah, definitely.
Also, a Joe's Kofi Ziggler triple threat? Like, it's not going to be bad. Like, also, a Balor Nakamura on a house show where they're just told, all right, here's how much time you have to fill. Go have fun. Cool. I'm in.
Yeah.
And even Elias, as much as I've seen Elias on house shows before, right? Let me correct that. The one time I've seen Elias on a house show was when Titus O'Neil was still a heel. And he invited his good buddy Elias out. And I think I was the only person in the Greensboro Coliseum who knew who Elias was. Because he was still an NXT roster member. And I lost my mind. Because I went home for the weekend and I convinced my parents, hi Mom and Dad, this is my pipe bomb moment, to go with me. Because I was like, this is the only time I'm ever going to see Finn Balor. We have to go. I have to see Finn right now. Which it did, and then I got really drunk and I cried. But that's a story for a different show. Elias came out and I lost my mind. It was amazing. Good story. All right, Tom, tell the people where they can find you on the internet.
Go on a Twitter machine at Mr. Workrate, at MR Workrate. I don't know where anything else is because it's been entirely too long for me.
Right. You can find me on the internet at JCBobbitt, JCBOBBITT, wherever finer social media is pervade. You can find the show on Twitter at CheatersNVRPin. You can find us on Facebook and Instagram as well. Give us a big blue thumbs up there. Tell us how much you like us, or give us a heart, I guess, on Instagram. I don't know. Next week, we'll be back with Raw Reunion. I think that's the only thing happening in wrestling.
We'll still do an hour and a half.
Yeah, Tom, we're in an hour 45 right now, buddy.
Yep.
This has been a long... It was a busy weekend this past weekend, right?
Yeah, sure.
So, sure. But thank you for listening and joining along with us. We'll be back next week with an all-new episode of the Cheaters Never Pen podcast. So my name is JC.
I'm Tom.
And we'll catch you on the flip side,